So I just bought a very rare Harley Davidson military-issued dirt bike with only 88 miles on it. And it's said that there's only 500 of these in the entire country. You might be wondering how I got this super rare bike. Well, I found it at a motorcycle auction, and when they shipped it to us, this is how it arrived. So we're gonna pop this thing out of here and see what I really bought and try to get this thing running. It's very possible, since it only has 88 miles on it, that it's not ran in the past 36 years. Hey Craig, what you doing here?
I work here.
Well, you might as well come and help me out. Let's do this. You ready, Craig?
I'm ready.
Are you guys ready? Wow!
Dude.
So, the first thing I'm noticing is, this doesn't look like a new bike. Craig, what do you think, man?
It does not look like a sub 100 mile bike.
Does that look like a brake drum of a 88 mile bike?
It does not.
The auction listing was very strange. The people at this auction, they know new bikes, and this is kickstart only. The rare ones had an electric start and kickstart. This was kickstart only, and the people were like, has low compression, does not run. You look inside of it, it's the most bone dry thing you've ever seen. So that makes sense why it doesn't run. But they wouldn't know what type of compression it's supposed to have. And generally, military bikes are made with really low compression. They want it to be very reliable. They care about reliability over performance. Right. And when you do that, you make a low compression engine. This is what I'm looking at this.
Right.
That's not an 88 mile exhaust. Let's take this thing apart. Let's get this thing out of here. I feel like maybe I got scamboozled. Craig, check this out. The boot, what do they call it? Is it called a boot?
Yeah.
That's a hose.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Why does that make so much sense? There's no way Rotax made this engine and they shipped it with that on there.
I wouldn't think so.
So I actually didn't tell you guys what this bike is actually called. This is the Harley Davidson MT500. I got some buddies who are Harley experts. They know everything about Harley Davidson. You ask them about the weirdest bikes, saying that, they made 1 out of 1. They know everything about it. I asked them about this and they were all like, I know nothing about those bikes. All they knew was that another company makes them. Harley Davidson didn't even make these bikes, but they put their name on it. So I don't know much about these bikes, and apparently no one else knows anything about these bikes.
I know some stuff about these bikes.
You do?
I do.
How do you know?
Well, I did a little homework.
Did you call the archive guy from Harley Davidson?
I did call the archive guy from Harley Davidson.
So we have one more buddy I didn't call, but Greg called. That's the archive guy at Harley Davidson. He actually knows everything about everything. So while I'm putting this bike back together, voiceover Craig is going to explain what's up with this motorcycle.
The MT500 was a motorcycle that Harley brought over here in an attempt to secure the military contract, just like they did in World War II with the WLA. Now, since they didn't make a dirt bike or anything else suitable for the off-road, they bought the rights to this British-made bike and brought the production to York, Pennsylvania. It was powered by a Rotax 500cc motor, which made 28 horsepower. And because this bike is British and Austrian, you'll notice the Kickstarter's on the wrong side. Rumor has it that only a few of these bikes made it in the Desert Storm, but Harley never got the contract from the US military, ultimately getting beat out by one of the most reliable motorcycles ever built, the Kawasaki KLR 650, which was converted to run on diesel, which became a requirement for the military. Only 500 of these motorcycles were ever made, making the MT500 one of the rarest and strangest motorcycles to ever wear the Harley badge. Voiceover Craig needs to figure out if an Italian-made, British imported Harley Davidson with now a Canadian engine is going to be running metric or standard.
The guy who we bought it from said that he thinks this bike came from Germany. We don't know what this bike was doing in Germany. According to the information that we got, the Germans never actually used this. But somehow he said this thing came from Germany.
Well, maybe it found its way to Germany and then Germany to here. I don't know.
We really have no idea. So even though the story of this bike is a little bit cloudy and seems to get cloudier the more we dive into it, it's still pretty interesting, and hopefully we can get it to run. Although this bike seems to be getting worse and worse the more we look at it, starting with the axle threads on the front tire.
Yeah, there's a metal there.
But with a little bit of finagling, we got the axle bolt in without messing up any more threads. The switch, it's clearly the on-off switch, but the bottom says CEV, and the top just says patent pending. But the switch doesn't even tell you which one's on or off. I'm assuming this is a choke. This is a hole inside the frame.
Oil.
Tell me what that smells like to you.
Oil.
That smells kind of like gasoline. Dan, taste it. All of us motorheads taste the oil to make sure it's good.
Yeah, that's
But you need to taste about a couple hundred of these before you really start to refine your palate. This is a cool looking bike, isn't it?
It is. It really has a lot of neat little attributes and a lot of neat little things with it.
Check this thing. I was looking at this. Commandos. Why does that say Commandos?
That's just to remind you who you are. Yeah. Some of the really cool things that I noticed is the big gas cap. I think that's really cool. The oil, it's a dry sump system, and the oil is kept in the frame of the bike. So that's really neat. These Rotax engine has a decompression lever, center stand and kickstand. It's drum brake front and rear, so it's super simple.
So what happens when we turn the key? All right, that's good news.
Got a light, 2 lights, 3 lights.
What is that?
High beam.
Let's see what happens. Fuel is currently off.
Okay.
Let's put the fuel on. Hold up. There we go. Okay, the fuel line is just not connected to it. And that would be this. Well, I got the fuel on. The fuel's on now.
Oh, now it's dripping out of the carburetor.
How many kicks before it fires up? 81, 82, 83, 84. Let's see if it's getting spark. Look at the hardware inside this. What do you guys think's inside here? I'm assuming this is an airbox. Craig, what do you think the filter looks like? This will tell us whether this bike is 88 miles or not.
Yeah.
Well, here's our intake. You want to guess what it looks like?
Brand new.
Brand new, non-existent.
I was gonna say.
Dan, is that a military protocol?
Yeah, you have to fashion the intake once you get there, out of your surroundings.
So every engine needs at least 6 things to get it running. 1, compression. 2, spark. 3, fuel. 4, proper timing. 5, I gotta push the button. And 6, a girl that the guy who was pressing the button wants to impress. All right.
That's good.
That's good. That's really good. Let's pop the seat off. Maybe there's a tool pouch. Here we go. Pull that seat out. Look at the giant bolt.
Nope. Look at that.
Wow. What is going on there? See this gap right in between there? That should be tight. Like this should be directly connected to this box. No ginormous gap.
I'd be curious to hit it with a little spray. Kick it a few times and see what happens.
Yeah, let's do it. I think it's safe to assume this thing has way more than 88 miles on it. Whoever had this, because these things are so incredibly rare that when things started to deteriorate, boots and stuff like that, they just made their own or they did without.
Sounded like it for a second.
Really?
Turn the gas on.
All right, so it runs. First of all, it runs. That's amazing. It runs. Let's see if we can break some stuff in there, get it running, and hopefully we can get it running off of its own fuel. That's the next thing. All right, you ready? That's running off of the carburetor. See that smoke? So the carb is dumping oil. All right, so
It runs.
it's not a very finely tuned machine because the intake's hanging off on both sides and it still runs. So that's exactly what the military wants. You want it to be able to run no matter what. That peaks brakes off, it's still gonna run. That's awesome. It does run pretty good. Let's see if we can button up some of these issues. It's dumping fuel out of the carburetor right onto a really awful spot, which is the exhaust. But it is running off its own fuel from the carb. Let's see if this thing runs. Let's see if we can actually get this thing to move on its own. What else is in these saddlebags? Look in there, Dan. Kids, this is where mice live. So after doing some very scientific tapping on the motorcycle with a wrench, and after seeing that we were missing some parts on this bike, and chances are might be impossible to find, we did the only logical thing that any self-respecting adult would do. We sat down on the couch and started watching YouTube videos in hopes to muster up the strength to get back out there and get this bike running again. All right, so everyone's always asking me, Sean, what kind of gloves do you wear when you ride your motorcycles? These are the M1 Moto 508. This is one of the only gloves on the market with Kevlar. This whole thing is Kevlar. These are actually the original prototype gloves. This is the first glove ever made of this kind. This is the second glove ever made, and I still wear them. This is the actual glove right here that I drug my hand on the asphalt for about 1/4 of a mile. All it did was it started wearing through one of the threads right here. But it's been like that for about 3 years. These are the baddest gloves out there, one of the toughest gloves out there. It's the only gloves that I trust with my hands. Check them out at bikesandbeardsgear.com or m1motogear.com. The link will be in the description. Let's go back and let me go help Craig with this bike.
Well, it's not leaking right now.
It's holding, it's keeping fuel in.
Yeah, and we have oil in it.
All right.
So what we could do, if the carburetor will come this way, see if we can get this off. There we go. And then let's put these on there. It's just about there. Not quite.
This is literally the most poorly cut hose I've ever seen in my life. He's like, we don't got a knife to cut this hose. Let's get a gopher to chew it off for us.
Like a apprentice went at it with a dull beaver. Oh, started leaking fuel again.
Oh, good. All right, let's try to fire this thing up again.
Horn works.
Let's give it idle.
It's running so lean, yeah.
A lot of fuel dripping out of that carb.
I didn't see any.
Well, what's all the smoke from?
It's burning off what's on there. I have a MacGyver idea. Dan, do you have gaff? There we go.
That's all gonna get sucked up into that engine, isn't it?
Hope not. Dan inspired me. He said, get it out of the woods, Craig.
Is that what he said?
That's what he said.
It's an official military fix. We read it in the manual.
Yeah, do you know what it says about official military fixes? When you're stuck somewhere and they're shooting at you, do whatever you have to do to get out of there.
Craig, open your eyes. I'll never get over Craig when he sprayed gasoline right in my face. In my eyeballs.
Okay, so that's going to stop some air.
Let's get this thing outside so we can get it running, throw the seat on there, and then just jump on it and ride it. So we did our best to put a gaff tape seal around where the intake boot used to live, and hopefully this will get us out of the woods. See, I really want to ride this bike. Craig's all trying to make it right and perfect with gaff tape and stuff like that. I just want to jump on it and ride it. I want to make it run. There we go. All right, first gear, baby, let's do this. Aha! We're pretty bad. So it's not bad. This thing's got some pep to it. I want to try it. It's pretty stout for an old. That thing's pretty impressive, actually. That's not bad, right?
No, not at all.
Rotex knows how to make a pretty good motor. Let me get the seat screw. Then we can stop holding back so much. Check this out, Dan. So you have a nice looking paint job right here, underneath here. Nice looking green. And then they painted over with this stuff. Is this too shiny? This is too shiny for the military, and they wanted to make it a little more,
I don't think the military did that.
No?
I don't think so.
Dan, does that look like a military thing?
To repaint something?
Does military repaint things
for no reason? Yeah. That
Okay.
sounds like a government thing.
Right, here we go. Sometimes you're fighting a war, and you just gotta ride that wheelie to safety.
He's riding wheelies for safety.
really wants to idle.
It's getting close.
All right, guys, I wrapped up this video. We got some parts we got to order to make this thing right. Hold on a second, I got a call. It's the police department. Hello? Yeah, I bought them. Okay, let me call you back. All right, thanks. We got them, Craig.
Nice.
We got them. Guys, don't forget to subscribe. See you guys next time. And don't forget to watch this other awesome video right here.